Welcome to our live show featuring my friend Lauren Knight Hughes. So, if you look to my right or to my left, I don't know which way it's showing right now, I will be interviewing this beautiful lady. She has been carnivore for quite a while now, and she also has her own channel sharing her experience with the carnivore diet and how she stays sober as well, which I would love to dive into. So, firstly, how did you find the carnivore diet, Lauren? Welcome.
Yes. So good to see you again, Bella. That was actually not that long
Likewise.
ago, just a couple
I
days.
know. Mhm.
And yeah, very grateful to be on here. So thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be on here. Yeah, how did I find the carnivore diet? So it was only, I think it was 4 years ago. I was still struggling with an eating disorder. It wasn't like I was extremely anorexic or bulimic or anything like that. I just had a really bad relationship to food and had that since I was 11. So my friend, that's just kind of a side note, but my friend, he discovered carnivore because he had tinnitus. And so
Mm.
for anybody who doesn't know, that's ringing in your ears. And so he was struggling with this for years and ended up finding, I think it was Ken Berry and somebody else on YouTube to try to solve for that. And so he decided to go and do it for like a month, do carnivore for a month, and was telling me how much the ringing went away.
Mm.
And so for me, I kind of heard it from a vanity standpoint. I started looking into it. I was like, oh wow, people seem to like lose a lot of weight on this. And I was obsessive about that at the time. And so I dove in because I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. I'm already pretty restrictive. Like what the heck, we can eat meat. And I tried it for a month, 30 days, very strict, touched nothing else but meat. And I ate more food than I'd ever eaten in my entire life, literally. And was trail running. I trail run a lot and was doing
Mm.
that aggressively, like 14 miles on a weekend or something. And ended up, I felt better than I'd ever felt in my entire life. I looked better than I ever looked. I was waking up with 6 hours of sleep, fully rested. And it totally changed my life completely.
Wow. Now,
Mhm.
how far along are you now?
It's been about 4 years since
Wow. That's
yeah, it's been
awesome.
about 4 years. Mhm.
Okay. And I love that you talk beyond just carnivore diet on your channel. Can you talk about your journey to being sober as well?
Yeah, I love talking about this. So I stopped drinking when I was like 20. I always want to say it's like 25 or 26. I can't remember exactly the year, but I quit drinking. And, I was never somebody who was in recovery. I never really needed to go to AA. I never felt that it wasn't like that. I identified with that so much. For me, I grew up with a family that had alcoholism in it. And so I started noticing in my like college years and then post college years that I never craved alcohol on the weekdays, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I never really craved it like that. But when I would drink, I would often drink too much. And it was kind of like I equate it to when I eat one Oreo, I want to have 15 Oreos, not just one. And so that it's very similar to that where I would just want to keep drinking. And so when I was 26, long story short, I had sort of a traumatic thing go down in my life, a couple of things. And I went on a 3-day bender, which I never, ever, ever had done in my life, ever, ever. But it was the first time I experienced what it looks like to drink out of like pain, let's say. And it was just like woke me up. I just realized, oh my gosh, I am just like the people in my family who I tried to say stop drinking. And, I just did that. So it gave me a really quick glimpse into, because I was very close to people. My mom was an alcoholic, and I saw very clearly what progressive alcoholism looks like. It's not like this obvious thing that happens where you're just born an alcoholic and you're on the streets and you're homeless and boom. It really starts with like very put together people who over time it starts to get in more and more in their life, and then it erodes things. And I saw that very closely with my mom. So the whole thing that happened for me that weekend, that bender, showed me what could be my life if I
Mm.
didn't cut it out, basically. And so yeah,
Yeah,
I basically I woke up one day after years of struggling with it, and I cut it out pretty cold turkey.
that's amazing. Good for you. Who here watching the live stream also feels like they cannot moderate with specific foods? When it comes to eating food, we love asking this question here. Would you identify as a moderator or an abstainer? What does abstainer mean? Could you define that, Lauren? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, no, it's what does an abstainer mean to me? So an abstainer to me means somebody who picks, there might be something that causes them to go off track, and they abstain from allowing that thing into their life. And
Mhm.
so for me, I abstain from alcohol. For me, I abstain from nicotine. For me, I abstain from processed foods and pretty much everything that's not carnivore. Am I perfect with it? No, with carnivore in particular, but I try. I try to
Yeah,
be.
absolutely.
So yeah, I would say I am again imperfectly. I'm an abstainer. So
Mm,
you've told me before you've been carnivore for 6 years, have not touched a single thing but meat since then. I haven't been that way. I've had some diet sodas here and there. I've had
mhm,
some, I mean, you saw me have one even just last week. It was in the fridge and I was like, man, and
mhm,
that I shouldn't, but that's what happened. And that throws me off actually. Um,
mhm.
Sometimes I will say the more I've healed, the more I can introduce maybe under 10 grams of carbs if I'm really working out pretty hard, maybe.
Yeah.
But pretty much I abstain.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I would say I have to abstain because when I used to eat a vegan diet and even a standard American diet, anything that has a lot of sugar in it or even fruits, I would not be able to stop eating it. And I noticed that the more I eat foods that have a lot of sugar, the more acne I would get or the more inflammation that I would get and see. So I just choose to abstain. But I also really appreciate that you openly talk about how you do benefit off of specific carbs in your diet, maybe for athletic reasons. I love that the animal-based community is growing so much because I think for most people, an animal-based diet is probably gonna be the best, the easiest to sustain for sure. When you talk about the carbs that you enjoy eating that you feel like support you, what are they?
Yeah, and I think it's important to talk about that because there's even within the carnivore, the animal-based community, we're trying to fight the dogma, but then there's dogma within that space, that it's like it's important to discuss. So, for me, literally like what I've had today is a pound of ground beef and then some protein. I'm probably gonna have eggs and bacon later. And I've had that for the last
Mhm.
whatever many like weeks. Like all we had at meat stock
Meat stock.
was literally meat. So,
Yeah.
I didn't have any dairy because that makes me hungry, any of that. But for me, I think sometimes there's times I think when I'll run like 14 miles and I typically like to trail run. And
Mm.
so it's like kind of in the woods and it's, hills and stuff. And for me, I'll have like maybe a third of a container of coconut water. Like that's, and I think in a coconut water, there's something like in the ones that I have, it's something like 10 grams or something like something small, 10 grams of carbs. So
Yeah.
it's still very few. And then maybe I'll have like literally half of a banana, maybe. But it's tricky, right? Because I only do that if I really, really, really need it. Other than
Sure.
that, I completely abstain. I
Love
because
it.
I'm like you, I'm very similar in that I just do better when I do carnivore. But I have to remember that because it's
Mm.
easier. Like things with alcohol for me is quite easy. It's just like you don't really need alcohol. It's just there.
Mhm.
We need food, right? So you have such a variety of foods. Sometimes like I can really be like, "Ooh, dairy sounds good, cheese sounds good," but even those will throw me off sometimes, and I have to
Totally.
remember that. So,
Right. Totally. I think when we get busy and when we travel, like I've been traveling a lot, going to Meat Stock recently, where I met Lauren in person. When you're traveling and you don't get to plan out your meals and you don't know which restaurants are clean carnivore and you're hungry, that puts you in a very vulnerable position. And I see a lot of new carnivores typically slip up or just fall off track for a little bit because they weren't prepared during travel times. So we can dive into our best tips on travel as well if you guys want. Drop your questions for me and Lauren, and I'm going to bring on the team as well to interview Lauren and help out very soon. But I have a big question for you, Lauren. What is some brutally honest carnivore advice that you wish you knew when you first started?
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good question. Okay, so brutally honest,
Yeah.
I'll say this, and I even mentioned this at Meat Stock too. I asked this question purposefully just to see kind of like crowdsource what people would react like.
Mhm.
Um, you got to cut out fake sugars. And
Yeah.
even so like when we were in the kitchen back there, I was sipping diet soda. Somebody had bought diet soda and I like I was really low on energy and it was right there. And I was like, took a sip of it. And that was
Sure.
the first one I'd had in weeks. And that threw me so hard that day, so
Mm,
hard. And it was just like a little bit of it. But I used to think that I could just get away with having like one Diet Dr. Pepper, one Diet Pepsi, or something like that. Not Diet
sure.
Pepsi, Diet Pepsi sucks, but diet like Coke Zero,
Mm,
Diet Dr. Pepper or something. And I think that a lot of people think aspartame and those kind of fake sugars are free, and they're not.
yeah.
They
Mm,
they they change the way ghrelin, and leptin and all that kind of stuff reacts in our body, and our signals, our hunger signals overall get thrown off. And then people don't lose weight and they don't lower inflammation and they get frustrated and then they get off carnivore. And
right.
so what I'm trying to say is those fake sugars for sure. And I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm going to say it. Like, I
Yeah.
think we use the sweetened electrolytes as crutches too much. And what the problem
Totally.
is with that is that we use it as a crutch and we keep staying habituated to sweetness. So
Mm,
we keep wanting sweetness. So you never kind of get rid of it.
exactly. That
And
is so good. So true. Absolutely very brutally honest. And a
mhm,
lot of people are just not willing to let go of the sweeteners.
yeah.
Now, I know for a fact that a lot of my team members who are backstage, but I'm going to bring them up one by one. Melanie, I know that you have experience with sweeteners, getting off sweeteners. Talk about your experience and how it affected your results, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like with Lauren. Hi, Lauren. It's good to see you.
So good to see
Um, yeah, it's I have to admit, I've cheated too. I have not been, almost 4 years. I have not been totally strict carnivore, and I do know, like for instance, I'll give you an example. Of course, I love my honey bear bars, right? And thankfully, the organic honey, does not trigger me, so I'm okay. But I still have to limit it. I still have to kind of tell myself I need to abstain. But um, sugar was big for me coming into the gang because um, I had such bad sugar cravings coming up into carnivore that I would just eat tons of butter and pork rinds just to kind of help with the sugar cravings. And then after I did my priming, feast and fasting priming, the priming really helped me. And as my other friend Laura would tell me, that I need to trust the process, right? So yeah, the sugar cravings for me were crazy. And every now and then I slip back, like I'll have some blueberries or something like that. But I'm kind of in the same boat with Lauren because I train a lot. So sometimes I will use a little bit of those carbs just after a workout, but I try to abstain from all those mostly.
I love that. Focusing on butter and pork rinds as a crutch is a great tip. Yeah. Laura, you were just mentioned. Talk about your experience with sweeteners. Oh, Laura, you're muted. Might have to mute yourself there. No
you.
worries.
Forgot about that little piece. Hi, Lauren. Good to see you
Hi,
again.
so good to see you too.
The artificial sweeteners are what brought me to carnivore and brought me to SBG. I was never a big sugar person, and then when I went ketovore, I began making keto treats using I'm watching the chat over here. People are like, what about stevia? What about allulose? What about this one? What about that one? I'm
Yeah.
telling you right now. And someone said I've been using it in my coffee for 4 years and it hasn't bothered me. That's wonderful. But I'll tell you, nothing worked faster on my brain and that center of my brain that likes addiction than those sweeteners, and it was the artificial ones, not real sugar.
Yeah.
So for me, it is a no-go. We got our little element packs. I save the unflavored for me to use for pickleball, and all the rest go to friends who use electrolytes with sugar and artificial sweeteners. So it is 100% not something I can do. And however, I am a moderator. I can have, Bella knows this, we've talked about it. I travel, and when I'm in Italy biking for 3 weeks, I will eat the food that is there. I will try to stay as carnivore as possible, but it is just something you're not going to be able to achieve. I will have occasional desserts. I've even had gelato. I've had it once. It was lovely, and it's not an issue because it's real sugar. It's the artificial ones that, for me, are the trigger. So
Wow.
I can have some fruit here and there, and I will occasionally, if we're doing a 35-mile bike ride in the mountains in Italy, they have snack breaks, and they may have oranges or fresh peaches or whatever type of fruit, grapes, whatever. And I may take an orange or a peach. That stuff doesn't bother me. That stuff doesn't trigger me. And when I come back to the States, I'm so happy to get back to my all meat and egg carnivore diet. So sweeteners, hard no.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting hearing everybody's experiences with sweeteners. Some people have zero issue with these artificial sweeteners. Some people, it's a very big trigger, and it even inflames, gives them joint pain immediately. So I think the moral of the story, hearing these three ladies talk, is you have to find what works best for you. And I know that we have new viewers watching every single time we go live. So to give context, Lauren is a 4-year carnivore. And Lauren, how young are you?
32.
32. 6 years here. I'm 28. Laura, how many years and how young are you?
3.5 years carnivore, and I turned 70 in August.
Wow, you look fantastic. I would have never.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Laura is 70. Melanie, how about you?
And Laura is almost my carnivore twin because we started at the exact same time in Steak and Butter Gang, but I am going to be 59 next month, 3.5 years carnivore. So,
Jeez, you're great too.
thank you.
Yeah, no, all three of these ladies right here, you guys want to listen to and be inspired from. They all are. Oh, look at Melanie's. Now you have to show yours off, Laura.
Yeah, let's
Come
see.
on, Laura. Come on, Laura. Yeah,
Oh
girl.
Oh
That
my
girl.
God.
That's pretty good.
Lauren, me too. I'm wearing
Let's do it.
Let's all do it at the same time.
Yes. I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it so much. All right, now let me bring on the gentlemen. They have been waiting patiently. So now let's have a nice big conversation. Todd, introduce yourself. How many years carnivore? How young are you?
Just under 3 years carnivore, and I am 42.
Beautiful. And recently, Todd celebrated his birthday. So happy birthday to you, Todd.
Thank you very
Love
much.
that. And Raymond, go ahead.
Yeah, so I will be turning 53 in June. So right there.
Wow.
So yeah, need a little more gray right here. So people respect me a little more.
And how long carnivore?
Oh, 7 years. Great question.
Oh,
Well,
7
7.5 years. 7.5 years. So I'll be 8 years in September. So it's right there.
Beautiful. Oh, I just happened to see Bev's comment here. Before you put something sweet in your mouth, get a big hunk of cold butter and it will stop the craving. Like, I literally cannot shut up about this. It works so well. So for our new carnivores watching, try it. Okay. Let's get into the questions.
Wait,
Bella,
before that,
yes.
Bella, I just want to say how awesome of a time we had at Meat Stock. Lauren meeting you in person
Oh my
there. Of
gosh.
course, Bella, Laura, Melanie. I mean, it
Yeah.
was so awesome. I think, just for the carnivore ladies there, it's worth going to one of these. So, I mean, I had such a great time.
my
Normally when I go anywhere, I'm usually the outcast. But, when I say a comment in Meat Stock, everybody looks at me like, yeah. I'm like, wow, I'm amongst my people. So cool.
Yeah. It was great.
truly feels like that. What was the highlight for you, Lauren, for Meat Stock?
It was funny. I think that being there was, for me, really one of the first times that I got to spend multiple days at a time with, other content creators, but also other people that do carnivore and people who appreciate the intangibles, right? Like sunlight and being outside and community. And I have a lot of those friends, but not all of those people in the same place, So for me, it was, I left that really, really, truly feeling the community for real for myself for the first time, probably. Because also I get to meet people who recognize my work, and then we have real conversations because I talk about things, about carnivore, not drinking, other life hacks, whatever. And so we get to the real stuff real quick, and that's very bonding. And so I think the community that came from that and the connection was really powerful for me.
Actually, this is a perfect opportunity for me to personally invite you to our Montana meetup. It is in Bozeman, Montana, Lauren, and it is July 4th to July 5th. If you want to come, I'll make sure that you can come and everything is taken care of as our guest.
Wow.
What do you think?
That sounds amazing. I would love to go. Yeah.
So is that a yes? Are you free?
I'm pretty sure. I have to check. It's July 4th, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the only other thing is I'd be going to my family's in Nebraska, but I think they could probably wait. So I'm pretty sure I'm free.
Oh my gosh.
Just
because
tell the family that you got another engagement that's, a little bit better.
Yeah.
No, but like, I kind of have an idea. Have you met Carnivore Ray?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I love him.
We should have Lauren meet up with Carnivore.
Oh.
Okay, I'm not going to say too much right now, but Carnivore Ray is single. Lauren, you're single. These meetups, these in-person meetups are like the gold mine to meet friends, obviously, but also to mingle. And so let me just, Okay, Lauren will be added to our guest panel. Okay. Exactly. Let's put up on the screen, Todd, just for everyone watching the live stream and the playback. This is the details of the SBG meetup. I'm going to add Carnivore Ray's face to it, Dr. Wiedemann's face to it as soon as they confirm that they will come. But as you can see, we've got some really great voices showing up. Dr. Chafee, Dr. Chafee's fiance Elle, Dr. Baker's coming with his whole family, Dr. Kiltz. We've got the entire team, Homestead How. It's just such a great opportunity to make those connections. And I actually met so many of you guys in the community at Meatstock, Tennessee, and I'll be featuring so many of your stories on my channel because I got to meet so many of you guys in person. So I just love the magic that happens at these in-person carnivore events. So for anyone interested, this is the next big event coming up. Just go to sbg.events to secure your ticket. Tickets are definitely selling fast, and we do want this one to be a little bit more intimate, not nearly as big as Meatstock, since this is our first one ever. So yeah, anything you want to add, Todd, since it's in your hometown?
Well, Bozeman's beautiful, and it's only 89 miles from Yellowstone Park. So if you're going to come here, you might as well check out Yellowstone. It's a really beautiful area. And then, the meet's going to be awesome. All right. Ashley's coming down, and we're going to do Camp Carnivore 2.0 like we did in Austin for Hack Your Health. So that's going to be good. Yeah. And so it's going to be a great time. And fireworks are awesome. This will be our 26th year of doing the fireworks display. So it's going to be huge.
Wow.
Todd's family throws the biggest fireworks in the entire state of Montana. I just want you guys to know. So be ready for the best fireworks. Go ahead, Raymond.
Not only that, so we were at a Hack Your Health, and Todd pretty much had the whole get up for us. I mean, let me tell you, the meat was the best quality, top notch. And I mean, it's worth it just for that. The way it was barbecued. This was the first time I tried smoked salt kind of. What was it? You had some kind of smoked wood chip, and the way it made it taste. It was amazing.
We made smoked prime rib seared on the charcoal with smoked salt. It was beautiful.
Salt.
Yeah, and then we did smoked bone marrow as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
Wow.
It is.
So
It
worth
is
it just for that.
Yeah,
Coming out.
exactly.
And this time we got to give you a taste of Montana. That was in Texas. This time you're gonna have some Rocky Mountain oysters with us. Put some hair.
I'm game. Let's see how many I can put down.
For sure.
Absolutely. I'm down with those oysters, boy. Bring it.
Oh my God, I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. Okay, let's jump into questions and have Lauren be the first to answer the question. And if any team members here wants to add to it, just let me know and I'll have you guys chime in. So this one, I've been 2 years strict line with 0 supplements. How do I get rid of meat coma? I thought it was the histamines and I only eat grass-fed ribeyes. Any thoughts on meat comas, Lauren?
Meat coma. Like, what do we mean by meat coma? What do we think?
So I'm guessing he is saying that after he eats a lot of meat, he gets sleepy.
Yeah, I think that happens to me if I eat too lean. If I eat too much lean protein in one setting, go through gluconeogenesis, it'll put me into a glucose coma.
Take a nap, enjoy it. That's what I say.
Yeah, I would think that too lean, and maybe, I mean, I don't know. I'm just thinking about it like strict line diet, meat coma. One, maybe it's like too much too fast too. Like, I don't know, that might be silly to say, but slow down to eating because maybe it's just like too much too fast, and add some fat in there too.
Totally.
You know, and I don't know, maybe mix up the meat too. I don't know. There's not much context here. So maybe that you are already doing this, but possibly put a little variety of meats in there to try and see if something different would help. That's my first thoughts without like any context of what else is going on. So what do y'all think?
I think those are really good thoughts. And Todd, I think you also hit it right on the head with the leanness. Grass-fed ribeyes, I'm assuming this is grass-fed, grass-finished. If it's grass-fed, grass-finished, those ribeyes are so lean, you are not nearly getting the fat that you need. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl, you just need more fat. So keep us posted. Come back next week, please, and let us know how upping the fats did for your energy and your meat comas. Great job, guys. Let's keep going. It's me. Welcome. I recently started carnivore as well, but I need an advice. What do you guys do when you go out to dinner with your family because they want to celebrate something? Do you make exceptions? Lauren first.
Yeah, such a good question. Yeah, I think that it's going to be completely dependent on each person, right? For sure. For me, I do not. And this goes back to the ripple effect that it could have on me later on. So, you know, if I find that if I go out that night and I go and have a bunch of, let's say, cake or something like that with people, then that for me could lead me for the next week of struggling to get back on carnivore and other issues. Now, it's not always like that, right? There might be a time where I've been really clean carnivore for months and having a bite of a Brussels sprout is like a bite of a Brussels sprout. And because I know myself, it's not going to cause me any problems. But really, like 99% of the time, I don't usually make exceptions. That comes with wisdom of knowing what will happen if I do, you know, celebrate. So you have to learn for yourself what that might lead to. And for a lot of people, it might be fine. You know, it really might be fine. You hear Sean Baker say he'll have some cake sometimes to celebrate his daughter's birthdays or whatever. So like even he sometimes makes exceptions, but he knows himself enough to know that that's okay.
Exactly. I actually love this question, if I could respond.
Yes.
And I've actually learned this from Raymond and from the Steak and Butter Gang, and that is I had the FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Because I was such a activity person. Everything was around food. My friends were going out. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to eat when I go. So I eat before I go out. And if I get there and I'm hungry, I will order a piece of salmon. I ask them if it's cooked in seed oil, if they can just cook it in butter. I'll order a hamburger patty. And I will try to order something if I need it, just to feel kind of, so I'm not sitting there without anything. But if you eat before you go, you'll be full and you won't be enticed to eat at dinner with the family. So, and again, I'm sure Laura has some insights that too, because she travels a lot and sometimes you have to, but if you can help it, try to eat before you go so that you're not tempted to eat what's at the restaurant.
Great tips. Thank you both. Let's keep going. This is Patty next. What about allulose? So who here has tried or experimented with allulose specifically? Okay, so let's do you. Laura, go ahead. How did it go?
Allulose was one of those things that worked on the center of my brain that says I want more. So I say no to allulose. I know so many people who have been hung up for so long in their carnivore journey. They've been in there longer than me or as long as me, and they're still struggling. And when we talk and I find out they're still using artificial sweeteners in their coffee in the morning. So it's one of the things I strongly say, get rid of it. You will be amazed at the difference it will make in your journey. So I'd say no.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that. Let's keep going. Manuel, how bad is high protein, zero sugar yogurt? I know it's bad. I just need a breakdown. What do you think, Lauren?
Oh, yeah. So this goes back to this zero sugar conversation that is, there's all different types of zero sugar. I think that what happens with zero sugar is that it can cause issues with the gut microbiome. And so like overall gut health. And so what's cool about yogurt, a lot of the times it's there to help with your gut. A lot of times that's where people get some benefits from yogurt. This almost seems, in my opinion, that the zero sugar part could irritate the gut and do maybe what we don't want to have happen when eating yogurt. So how bad is high protein, zero sugar yogurt? I wouldn't say like how bad is it. I just think like it might cancel out its own benefits. And, for me, where it's like, I want to get the gut bacteria, increase the gut flora and help everything, kind of grow and evolve. But then having the zero sugar might kind of do the opposite of that and then cause those cravings and cause you to, your hunger signals to kind of go off a little bit. And so now you want more yogurt despite having quite a lot of protein in there. That's my experience. I don't know what you guys would say about that, if you all can relate.
I love that. No, I would say anything with high protein, zero sugar, typically they're also marketed as a low fat, low calorie. And we don't love that here. We want you guys to eat high protein, high fat, really focus on eating to satiation and not try to cut corners. So based off of what Lauren said there, I would just add, don't have yogurt as your main meal food. We want you guys to have fatty meat as like 80% of your meals, every single meal, even the snacks, right? And then the sides, the accessories can be things like yogurt, cheese, all of those types of things, eggs as well. So I think that's good enough for Manuel. Let's keep going. Always be kind. Since starting carnivore, I've been getting sick. I haven't been sick in years. Now I have a sore throat, swollen glands, coughing. I feel my immune system is low. What could I be missing? Raymond, doesn't this sound a little bit like keto flu?
Yeah, it does actually, because since starting, and remember with keto flu, it can last for up to, well, mine did up to 2 months. So it's kind of like annoying, but give yourself a chance. Just baby yourself. Make sure you're eating enough. And what I would say is you might during that time, because you have no appetite, eat smaller meals just all throughout the day kind of thing.
Yeah. So this is normal if you're new to carnivore. And she says since starting carnivore, she's been sick. Could be just adaptation. Give it more time. Keep us posted. Come back to these live streams. Nancy, brand new carnivore coming from ketovore. I'm concerned that I cannot eat enough because of work schedule and just not a big appetite. I'm terrified of gaining weight. Suggestions. I have more than 100 pounds to lose. Lauren, any thoughts initially?
Yeah, I empathize with this. And just almost the fear of gaining, right? The fear of gaining weight is real. We all grow with that. I live with that still, right? It's just very deeply ingrained in me, given my upbringing and how I looked at food for so many years. So totally valid. And also I think this goes to approaching I had to shift my relationship to food and realize that, food is actually there to help me. And I decided that I needed to, one, make sure I was getting quite a bit of protein in my diet. So I go for like 150 grams a day and I'm about 150 pounds. And then, as you know, Bella and Raymond speak about all the time, like a ton of fat in there. Fat does not make you fat. Animal fat does not make you fat. But when I was growing up, all I remember was low fat everything. My mom and my aunts would get low fat, low fat yogurt, low fat. I don't even know, low fat dairy. Everything was low fat because we were conditioned to believe that fat makes you fat, and it's actually quite the opposite. So I think what I have done is always done 80-20 ground beef, and that's worked for me. I have at least 1 pound of that a day, and then I'm aiming to get, let's say I always say my ideal body weight in protein. For me, I'm at pretty much my ideal body weight. So 150 grams of protein, I'm 150 pounds, at least that. And then the rest of my calories are coming from fat. Animal fat is usually how I try to measure that. What would you guys say about that?
I love
Can
that.
I speak to this?
Please.
Yes.
I started Ketovore, but my mindset in Ketovore was I was eating protein heavy, or so I thought, and I was still eating vegetables. So my mindset was still get that nice plate of vegetables in, even though if they were low carb vegetables, and I have a little piece of meat. And I had this big plate of veggies to go with it, thinking that that's what I should be doing. So if you're Ketovore, I would suggest drop that, drop that portion of it and prioritize the meat and the fat. And that was another mistake I made, is I was eating very lean cuts of meat and with the vegetable and not adding fats really. Maybe a little bit of butter on my vegetable or something, but not really. So even though I lost weight, you're concerned about gaining. Even if you gain a little on carnivore in the beginning, you're going to lose that. What you're gaining is probably more muscle, not necessarily body weight. You're gaining muscular weight. So I lost weight way too fast and looked haggard and sick. So I would just say, if you're doing Ketovore, try it prioritizing meat and fat and drop that vegetable, drop that part of the carb part and see how you feel. And you're going to be getting in far more of what your body needs this way if you prioritize the meat and fat.
That is such a nice way of saying, just stop eating the useless vegetables. Like, who here actually enjoys eating vegetables? Raise your hand. Who loves the flavor and the taste and the crunch that it provides?
Well, you should say who used to love them. I mean, I used to have an issue. Yeah, I never had an issue with them. But I also want to qualify that by saying, when I finally gave up the last of the vegetables, all of my allergy symptoms, the need to have asthma medication on hand, nasal spray, allergy medication, biannual, or no, would that be twice a year respiratory infections that would last for a month and a half, 2 months at a time. All that left when I cut out the last of the vegetables. I use nothing now. I have no allergy symptoms. I don't own any of that stuff anymore. I haven't been in for a respiratory infection since 3.5 years ago when I finally gave that up. So
exactly
another reason, even though I did love the taste of certain vegetables, it just, I know that piece was holding back my health.
I love that. Thank you for sharing those results.
And when I came to carnivore, though, I didn't realize that I really didn't like vegetables. I mean, I did and I didn't. It's kind of like you're eating them because you think you have to, because you think that's what you're supposed to be doing. But once I became carnivore, I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not miss vegetables at all. I'm totally good. I don't like them. So that's how I roll.
I love that. All right, let's keep going to the next question. How to store bacon grease, Todd? Is it in the fridge or on the counter? What do you recommend?
Well, if you clean it, you can put it on the counter, and that's great. If you strain the bits of bacon out of it, that'll last just fine on the counter. But if you don't, and it's dirty bacon grease, then put it in the fridge so it doesn't go rancid as quick.
Exactly. Perfect. Kate, 3rd week in, no gallbladder, fighting loose stools up to 3 times per day. I'm taking digestive enzymes. I also have leaky gut. Is there anything else I can do? I'll take this. I talk about it like every single live stream. Stop eating the render fat. If you didn't know about this tip, it makes a huge difference in the loose stools and stopping those loose stools. Take out all rendered fat. This includes the melted liquid fats that ooze out of your ground beef when you cook it. Do not pour that over your ground beef. Do not drink it up. Instead, if you want to be high fat, swap it for just cold, solid fats. Try it. McNeil, carnivore for 90 days. I'm still insulin resistant. Does liver fibrosis interfere with carnivore healing? Intermittent fasting has not helped. I'll start with Raymond. Do you know anything about this? Have you coached anyone with liver fibrosis?
Not liver fibrosis, so I'm not familiar with that. That obviously the insulin resistant intermittent fasting hasn't helped. Now, carnivore for 90 days, intermittent fasting hasn't helped. My question is what kind of carnivore are you? Are you eating intermittent fasting since you started? Because there could be the problem where you're not eating enough. And that's usually common. A lot of people start out with fasting because it's easy to do and they're thinking this could prevent weight loss. And in the end, the carnivore diet is truly like it sounds. You're eating a lot of meat, as much as you want, as much as you can. And that's what leads to the healing, and that's what leads to the health choices. So I would like to ask you, are you eating enough?
For sure. I don't know why I'm laughing, but like, I know that we have so many like community members who watch our live streams pretty much every single time. And they probably are so sick and tired of us, like literally saying the same advice. Are you eating enough? Are you eating rendered fat? Right? But it's just so common. That's why we repeat it over and over and over again. Hope you guys don't mind, our OG viewers, but we do have new viewers coming in every single live stream, and we want to be mindful of that. But don't undereat. Be aware. How many meals are you eating? Keep us posted, McNeil. Next up, we've got Corey. Looking forward to going to my very first carnivore meetup in Montana. Yay! We'll see you there, July 4th. And to be able to go to Mount Rushmore, especially being it's our country's 250th birthday and the year long. Yeah, that sounds very exciting. Let us know if you have any questions about the meetup. Anyone who's watching and deciding whether or not you want to come, we are happy to answer questions in the chat. I've also linked the clickable link down below in the description box, as always.
Sorry.
Oh, hi, Gunther. No worries. Thanks for that. Did not see this. You posted a YouTube short 12 days ago titled, "What I Eat as a High-Fat Carnivore." In it, you're holding a plate of food. How much of that stick of butter do you eat with a meal exactly like that? That specific meal, I ate 1/4 of that stick that I was showing. And while I was filming that video, I was already snacking on it and eating it. But I just want to make clear that when I eat my carnivore meals, I can eat anywhere from 1/4 to half a stick of butter. These days, I know I'm frozen, but I'm just going to keep talking. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So anywhere from 1/4 to half a stick is my typical amount of butter that I eat with each meal. I want to emphasize, though, to anyone who wants to do high-fat carnivore, please do not aim to eat like me. Never do I say explicitly in my content that you should be eating a stick of butter a day. You should be eating exactly like me. I just hope to share that a high-fat carnivore diet, as extreme and high-fat as me, is safe. Like, it's very possible. And if you need it, you should eat it. How do you know how much fat you need to eat to keep it nice and quick? Firstly, if you have the craving for lots of fat, eat as much as you crave. Right, ladies?
Mhm.
If someone is craving for lots of fat, should they be tracking and limiting it, or should they just eat as much as they need?
Eat it.
Yeah, eat
Eat
it.
as much as you need.
Exactly. If
Your body is
you
telling you that, eat what you're craving because you're
Right.
fulfilling a need.
Exactly. If you have a lot of hormone healing, thyroid healing, or adrenal healing that you need to do, I recommend looking into Dr. Elizabeth Bright. She's the expert on why a high-fat carnivore diet is so incredibly healing. So look into her. But hopefully that answers your question. Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. That's very sweet. David, I lost 65 pounds, but over the last 3 weeks, I put on 5 pounds. What's going on? Is that normal? Okay, David's a guy, so let's just have the guys chime in on this. Raymond?
That's I mean, that's not much context. First of all, I would love to know what you did over the last 3 weeks to gain 5 pounds, but that's not really a big deal for these kind of fluctuations. I mean, gosh, sorry to say, guys, but I fluctuate between days 5 pounds. Actually, in the same day. Sorry. So, like in the morning, I'll be 5 pounds lower, 5 pounds higher, on the next day. So that's not a real range, as far as my opinion. I don't know. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I fluctuate 32 pounds over a 24-hour period sometimes. So, but you know, it's you're either getting guns or you're having some salt and retaining some fluid, or you had a big meal. I mean, that can happen in a very short period of time. That's why I weigh about every 90 days because I just don't care, you know, because it'll drive you crazy, you know.
Good answer. Stop
Yeah, I
weighing
think
yourself
we all
down.
agree. Yeah, don't obsess over that scale. It's not necessary. Okay, it's me. Has anyone experienced cellulite on the carnivore diet? Who wants to take it? Lauren, do you want to take this first?
You know, I haven't really, though. That's the thing. I don't think I really super experienced it. Have you ladies?
I've actually reversed some cellulite because the or however you say the word. Thank you.
Autophagy? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So we're gaining muscle, and even my experience, my journey was I did not work out purposely for 6 to 8 months when I started carnivore, because I wanted to make sure that the way of eating was working versus whether it was workout. So I still maintain muscle mass without working out for those 6 to 8 months, and now I have even more muscle mass. But I've actually gotten rid of a lot of cellulite just because everything tones up when you're on carnivore. So I mean, I'm going to be 59. I have some. I'm not all, but I do have some, but not as bad as I think I probably would have.
A lot of us have met Melanie in person and have seen her in person. We all agree that she looks phenomenal, right? Like she looks so strong, so healthy,
Thank you.
so beautiful. Yeah.
You're making me blush, Bella. And I don't blush very often. You're making me blush.
Oh, you're so cute. Well, it's literally because of a carnivore diet. And she also adds in fasting. So she's a living example. Cellulite can be reversed. It can go away with a carnivore diet.
Absolutely.
Cellulite come back.
Okay, I just have to plug my girl here, Laura. If you guys don't understand what carnivore does for you, I'm going to make her blush now, because I love this girl. I mean, she's got better guns than I do, and I've trained my whole darn life. But this girl, you want to talk about what carnivore has done for somebody? That's the one. And Lauren too. Even Lauren. I mean, Lauren, I saw you this weekend, man. You're beautiful. I mean, Laura at 70 years old, I only dream to have those muscles when I'm 70 years old. So I'm trying to keep up with her, and I'm only going to be 59. So anyways,
there you go.
Yeah, I got it. We got it, girl. We got it.
I'd like to touch on the cellulite too. I have far less cottage cheesy thighs now than I ever did when I was 40. And that's, and I too implement fasting, and I don't do it all the time, but every so often I roll into, anywhere from 60 hours to 80 hours, because I know that my body is ready for that. And honestly, I see less of that now than I had when I was in my 40s and 50s. So.
Can I add to that too, Bella, real quick?
Yes, please.
Well, I met both of you at Meatstock this past weekend, and as we're talking about, both of you are quite fit. You're athletic women. And so, something that I think is worth mentioning is strength training. No, you don't need to go kill yourself. You don't need to go run 5,000 miles and do a bunch of cardio and work out 7 days a week and all of that. But, to sit all day and be stagnant all day is unnatural. And so walking, picking heavy things up, going to the gym. I go to the gym, 3 to 4 times a week, mainly 3, Mondays, Thursdays, Fridays, sometimes Saturdays. I walk. After this, I'm going to go for an hour-long walk because it'll be sunset time. And I've just literally been sitting all day. It's driving me crazy. So things like that, I think, are important to talk. If cellulite's an issue, it's like, maybe as we're working on healing inflammation and maybe lowering, changing our body composition, we do that through food and possibly through building some muscle too. If that's something that, might interest you. I don't know if you all agree with that or not. But.
So agree. Oh my gosh. One of the pillars of good health is that. So thank you for bringing that up. Love it. Thank you, ladies. Let's keep going. Last 10 minutes. Let's do rapid fire. Coffee. Good, bad, meh. Lauren, what's your answer?
The only vice I have left is coffee.
Are you drinking it now?
I can barely handle it. I know it's crazy. Actually, the cleaner I eat, like these days, this, I kid you not, this much coffee, like in a little cup, is about how much I can handle. And I used to drink a whole Starbucks thing, right? Like a whole, and I don't have any creamer. I don't have nothing in it. I have just iced coffee because I'm super basic with the Starbucks flavor, whatever. But I really can't handle it, though I love it. It is my vice. Some people take it out completely. I don't think that's necessary for me. So.
Good answer. Perfect answer.
I am not taking it out. I'm just saying. It's not going out. It's not going out
either. It's not going out for me either. Let us know if you're watching. Comment it. Do you drink coffee? Yes or no? Wonderful Lady wants to know, has anyone on the panel tried mud water instead of coffee? Does it help? I don't even know what it is. What is this?
It's like this. So it's advertised. Like, I don't know what's supposed to be in it. I've seen it before. No, I haven't tried it. I've heard it's not all as good as it seems like it should be, and basic water is better, or basic coffee is better. You got to try it maybe to know. I think the simpler things in life is usually the better way to go, personally. So
yeah,
I like that better.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. Let's do this one. Alexandra, welcome. 36-year-old woman, carnivore for a few months, completed my first prolonged fast of 66 hours. I broke my fast yesterday. Today, I am starving, not feeling satiated. Is this normal? Lauren, have you ever done a long fast like that before?
Yeah, the longest I've done is like 7.5 days. And yeah, there can be this refeed feeling sometimes. It depends, right? And Raymond, you can probably speak to this, but there might be an emotional attachment too that comes with the food stuff as well. But yeah, feeling starving, like maybe you broke the fast, now your body's ready to eat. I add quite a lot of fat and protein in there, right? That's really what we're going for. And I would suggest not eating, like that was a day ago. So a lot of times people will eat too much, too fast. And we don't want to do that. We want to have a little bit and then go more into it from there. But yeah, you don't want to starve yourself. Your body's hungry. You just, you fasted for a few days and now it's time to eat. Raymond, what would you say?
No, I love that, Lauren. So, I like to look at it this way. So if your body is not ready for a fast, this is a proper response for it. So you've pushed yourself without training yourself properly. The kind of fast I like is when you're breaking a fast and it feels like a normal meal. But if you're feeling like never satiate after, it's going to take you a while to actually refeed. And just like Lauren said, you can't just pick up a bolus and eat all at once because that's going to make you feel terrible. So you're probably going to need to eat little all throughout just to recover. And that's the only way you can get the satiation. So make sure you give yourself a few days, possibly a week, to recover from it before you try another fast is my advice.
Fantastic. Next question is up. So this is the follow-up. She says, I've been carnivore for 6 months, went through the keto flu already, so this is different what she's feeling. She says, I even got bronchitis, and that's my first time getting that. I truly feel my immune system is low or missing something. Do you have any thoughts, Todd? Maybe she's just sick.
Well, definitely could be. And also, if the only time I've ever felt like that in the last 3 years is when oxalate dumping. I did catch COVID for like the second time when I was oxalate dumping, because that did take a kind of battered my immune system there. So you might be oxalate dumping and you still can get sick. It just depends on how fast you're fighting it off. But if it sticks around, I think you might have been oxalate dumping and causing, and you just got a cold while you were doing it. I did that one time on carnivore as well, but that's the only thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, no, speaking of the oxalate dumping, this is so crazy because I brought up your story, Todd, to Sally Norton, and she was at Meatstock. And so I got some time to hang out with her and ask her questions. And I said, is it possible for someone to oxalate dump years into carnivore? And she says, yes, oxalate dumping and oxalates can haunt you. She said it exactly like that. And I must have missed out on this info, but I did not know that it can haunt you years later.
It's a real thing. The first 2 times it happened, even when I got that little cold, I just kind of blew it off and I kind of walked through it. But this last one put me through 5 months of not fun stuff. It started with those 3 kidney stones I passed. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, that's crazy. Hopefully that gives you something to look into to see if maybe that's the culprit. Keep us posted, please. Rachel says, LMHR 70, carnivore about 99% since January, eating protein to about my ideal weight resulted in an A1C of 5.9. One suggestion was to start eating starchy vegetables. Any other suggestions? Do you want to start, Lauren?
Well, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Okay, Melanie, you go.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say 5.9. That's not bad. It's like, you're not 11, you're not 13, you're not, I was like 11 or 12 when I started. So I'll take that 5.9. I mean, you can get down to 4, but eating vegetables is going to make that go higher because those are carbs and that's sugar. So I would just stay where you're at and it'll come down.
Right. And will starchy vegetables bring it down, Melanie?
Oh gosh, no. It'll make it go up. Yeah. So,
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, stay away from the vegetables.
January is not that much time either. You're just months into this. So, remember, it took how long to get your body to where it is now? It doesn't take just little increments of time to repair. So it's part of the process. And 5.9 is that's nothing to shake a stick at compared to like what Melanie's talking about. So
give it time.
It should continue to come down.
Absolutely. Last question and we'll wrap up. Skyus, welcome. Since you don't like rendered fat, do you not enjoy brown butter bites? So here's the detail that makes it acceptable for these brown butter bites. Because it's cold, it's different from melted rendered fats. So I try to be as specific as possible. When I say rendered fat, I'm talking about melted hot liquid. Have you noticed that when you take that liquid hot rendered fat and you put it in the fridge for even just a few hours, what happens to it? It turns white and it turns solid. So that's what happens when you chill that melted fat. So what I'm saying is when you eat the fat chilled and solid, it's actually better for your digestion and it doesn't send you running to the toilet with loose stools versus if you ate it melted, hot, and piping liquid form, basically. So try it out. I know it sounds woo-woo, but it really works. Try it out. Okay, guys? Let me know. If it doesn't work, I have other tips. I'll bring it to you next week. All right. Lauren, share. Where can people find you? What are you excited about? And how can we as a community support you?
Oh, gosh. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here and for the panel for being here, for having me on, Bella. This has been awesome. I have a YouTube channel where anybody can find me. My name is Lauren Knight Hughes. That is my full name. It is very long. And yeah, it's just on YouTube channel. So just type in my name there. I'm also on Instagram. So I use Instagram more as like a one-on-one connection. If people want to message me there, I think that's a great place to do that. But most of my content is there on YouTube. What I'm excited about, whenever I get into spaces like this, whenever I go to community events like the Meat Stock event we were just at, and hopefully this one that I get to go to in Montana, I really get invigorated with how cool and inspiring this community is. And it makes me continue to want to create content because I can see how much this is actually helping people. So, that goes to like a kudos to everybody that's a part of this messaging and the questions and all of that. That's like a huge shout out to you and so much gratitude for you being here, because without that information, that input, we wouldn't know that it's helping people. So thank you. And that what y'all are doing is what excites me, and it keeps all of us super excited and on the right track to keep this going and help more people. So that's what I am really excited about right now.
We love you, Lauren. You're always welcome to join us in these live streams. Yes, round of applause to Lauren, everything she does to spread the word. Her links are linked down below in the description box. So take a minute, click on them, go support her there. And then the Montana meetup is, again, July 4th to July 5th, 2 full days. Get your ticket and hang out with us at sbg.events. Thank you, tribe. We love you. We'll see you in 2 days at our Friday night show. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Lauren, you did such a